What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Leave It to the Judges MMA show. I'm with the boys, Nick and Xavier. And guys, it is UFC Freedom 250 Fight Week, UFC Whitehouse Fight Week. It is finally here. Crazy fights top to bottom, a lot of storylines. But let's start with the venue itself, guys. How are you guys feeling about going into this week? UFC is seemingly more in broad, like a wide media than ever. It's on the normal news. People who don't watch the sport are kind of connected to it now. What are your guys' thoughts on all of that going into Sunday?
I think it's pretty fucking dope, man. Honestly, um, it's rare that there's fights or events that the UFC can produce that transcend the sport, you know? Um, Not since Conor McGregor's prime, I would say. Like Alex Pereira, I would say sometimes has like a couple of highlight KO moments that, might get all over ESPN and shit like that. But for the most part, I'm talking about casuals tuning in that have nothing to do with the sport, never watched a day in their lives. You know what I mean? This is like one of those kind of events, just because literally it's at the White House. It's dinner like a American history type of event. It feels like. Shout out to the UFC for pulling something out of their ass that kind of feels like one of the most special, venues and cards that they could ever put on. To be honest.
Yeah, you said it best. I think it's a historic event, no doubt. It's probably the most historic, especially it's happening at the White House. The most
Outside.
yeah, it gotta be the most secure location on in America, about, I would say. And so it's pretty cool from that standpoint. And outside as well, that's it. I mean, I don't know if I've seen an outside card. I know it used to kind of happen back in the day, but I've never seen one, so that's a cool factor about it. And it like rivals the good old 205 when they first could fight in New York City, and it was Connor putting on the masterpiece that it was versus Eddie Alvarez. Like it does feel like it's going to be that moment because of what I think gonna happen in that main event there. And so I think it's just going to be a special card for sure. I don't like it 7 fights. It should be a little more, but outside of that, definitely a historic card for sure.
Yeah, later in the video, we'll talk a little bit about the production and how it'll look. But let's just jump into these fights really quick. We'll start at the top. Interim champ versus undisputed champ here, Ilya Taporia versus Justin Gaethje for the 155-pound belt. I mean, is it already written, guys? It seems like it is. Apparently, it's personal now. Ilya's talking all this crazy shit. Absolutely no one. I feel like I don't see this a lot. No one is picking Justin Gaethje. Is that valid, guys, or are we overlooking Gaethje?
I mean, I think that people are overlooking him, but I also think he's more than likely going to get slimed out viciously. Um, and I think that we just kind of all know that. I mean, look, I honestly think any version of Gaethje will get slimed out by Ilya. Um, it's not just because he's old, because his first fight in the UFC, he almost got slimed out by Michael Johnson. So it's like, if you're getting rocked by Michael Johnson, I have to believe that and while he has improved greatly since then, become a lot more technical, um, I still just think that he's always been kind of hittable. He's never been a guy that shies away from throwing himself into the fire a little bit. He will take one to land one, and against most people that has served him well. But I just think that Ilya is too crispy, too primed. He hits too fucking hard, man. And I think that Gaethje has already, recently gotten knocked out by Max viciously, and the chin does not get any better, guys. So I do think that there's a potential that Gaethje doesn't, throw himself right into the fire. He might last a bit more than a round. But I do think that the inevitable result is Gaethje looking up at the lights and or just getting subbed off of a club and sub. Um, but I mean, I do with that prediction being said, I do also think that people Gage is getting no love here. Like people are like just thinking that he's just gonna not like land anything on Ilya, and I don't think that that's necessarily true. I think that he might have a moment or two, like not a moment like where Ilya's hurt, but like I don't think he's gonna land nothing. I don't think he's just gonna get knocked out in the first 2 seconds of the fight. Jose Aldo style. Like he's gonna scrap in there until he can't anymore.
Here's what I'll say. If this fight was maybe 3 years ago or so, I think Gaethje is definitely a live dog here. But I will say, looking at the last two fights in particular, I don't know, man. Like he just doesn't look in his best form right now. And yes, he's been winning. The fight before that, he got finished by Max Holloway. But I don't know. You fought a Vazeev who came off like 3 days' notice, and you still lost a round in that fight, if I recall. And the Patty fight, it was what it was. I didn't give him much of a chance to win that, so he proved me wrong there. But I even thought watching that Gaethje was not facing a lot of resistance. But the thing I've noticed, he is gassing more in these wars now. And if you're doing that against Taporia, good luck winning that shit over 5 rounds. I think he's just too technical for someone like Gaethje. I think the spam overhand right is, Taporia just being very small and tight in his hand protection. I just think he'll easily be able to defend. I can see him go into the body a lot. He throws a lot of leg kicks, so him and Gaethje can trade off leg kicks all day. I just think it's a bad matchup for Gaethje. Like I don't believe he has fought this level of a striker inside the UFC. And not to play MMA math theater, but Max knocked him out, made him look bad for a lot of those rounds too. And and like I said, I think he's just a little older now and a little more or a little less durable in these fights. And especially someone who hits as hard as Taporia, I can't see him getting it done. I just think the masses are probably right on this one. But who knows? We saw Sean bullshit his way out of a victory out of Hamzat out of left field that seemed like a bigger dog than this fight, in my opinion. So it's possible, but very unlikely. And the devil's advocate is like Tapori just knocked out, Oliveira. What did Oliveira do to Gaethje again? Oh yeah, just sub him out in the club and sub him out in the first. I mean, and that was a better version of him for sure. I just can't see how Taporia does not win this fight. Gaethje needs to knock him out. I don't think he wins a decision out there.
I also think that like Gaethje has gotten away from the leg kicks like in his last couple of fights, which was like his main weapon on
Yeah.
the feet for so long. Like I feel like with the boxing heavy style of Ilya, like he will probably plant on his lead leg and like blasting leg kicks early would not be the worst move to try to like get him a little less crispy, but like I just don't think Gaethje's gonna do it. He hasn't done it recently, and I don't know if it's like, accumulation or like leg injuries or whatever, but like he just does not seem like willing to throw what was like once one of his calling cards. So I think that he would, this might be his retirement fight more than likely. I should say like I would advise him just go out there and throw the leg kicks with reckless abandon, bro. Like tuck the chin and like slam leg kicks as much as you can and try to like rattle Taporia early, make him fight a little uncomfortable because if he's comfortable, he's probably gonna put you out.
Yeah, kind of building off what Nick said with the whole Hamzat and Sean thing. There was kind of a, even though Sean was a huge underdog, there was a path for Sean. Survive the wrestling onslaught in the first rounds, drown him throughout 3, 4, and 5. That's kind of what Sean does, even though the fight didn't play out like that. Xavier, you already like just touched on it a little, but what is the path to victory for Justin Gaethje. The things he got going for him, he is the bigger guy. He's 5'11", according to this website. Topuria is 5'7". He is a smaller guy, but Topuria seems to have all of the just advantages on paper. How does Justin win this fight?
It's kind of hard to craft a good game plan, but the one thing I will say about Ilya is like we have not seen him have to face adversity. I do not know how he responds to adversity. And the one thing we can say about Gaethje is like he can face adversity and keep coming. So like you are gonna have to kill Gaethje and put him down all the way like Max did to stop him from coming forward. He's not gonna quit on himself, and I don't think in front of the American people at the White House, and what's probably his last fight, like I just don't see him quitting in there. So I think grit is going to be important because I do think that no matter what, Ilya will have him in some scary moments. Even if he doesn't like, even if he were to finish the win the fight, I don't think there's like that he gets through the fight without getting dropped at least once or like rocked pretty bad at some point. You know, even if he were to somehow like survive that. I think being technical is the move. I think that he has to be defensive first, particularly of that overhand right. Um, if Ilya's gonna hit you, make him hit you with like extended arm punches and combos, not like uptight, like tight hooks where like he generates a lot of power. Um, get on the leg kicks. I just think that like presenting some type of like you're gonna have to hurt Ilya or like do something to like earn your respect, earn his respect. Because if not, like he's gonna like walk Justin down. I think. Um, And then I mean from there, like get Ilya on game plan 2, 3, not like just the boxing game plan. You have to like compromise that lead leg, I think, enough to where like the boxing is a little bit less crispy. And I think he just needs to like, even if he's like seemingly like getting outpointed or whatever, don't just throw caution to the wind early. If you have to do it late because you're gonna lose a decision, fuck it. He can crash out with the best of them, but early on, I think that kind of a strat will get him knocked out, and I think it's better to. We've rarely seen Ilya go like 5 rounds. He did it with Josh Emmett, but that was a fight where he was in control the whole time, piecing Josh Emmett up. And I think that like if Gaethje can extend him on, like it would at least like answer some questions about him that like I don't really have answered in terms of how he would deal with adversity. So I just think he needs to survive early, chip away at the leg, keep the chin like as safe as possible, avoid the overhand rights, and try to like get him into deep waters and like frustrate him a little bit.
To be honest here, there isn't much of one. But if I'd have to give him some advice here, I think you gotta just make it dirty. You gotta pin him against, yeah, you have to. Like, you have to. You're not gonna beat Taporia out there, like, fighting cleanly and, like, throwing leg kick. Like, Taporia can, like, throw him right back at him. I've seen Michael Chandler hurt him with some leg kicks. It is possible. So I think what he's got to do, I would say throw more head kicks in there. I'd say sneak those in there a little bit. Just him being shorter at least. And like, you gotta make it dirty though. I can't see him just winning this like clean little fight with Jaboria and just winning at range. I that just doesn't seem. I mean, they have about the same reach as each other, so I just don't see that working. And I think you gotta play the pin him against the fence game and like get some dirting boxing in there. You know, I would say some knees would help in this fight, especially him being the smaller guy. Just a lot of up the middle knees. Throw some different stuff out there. I feel like though the way Gaethje fights, his version of dirty boxing is just going to be going at him crazy with like overhand spamming overhand right. So I think you just got to make it dirty though. It's the only way I see him getting a TKO here. It's the only way I see him winning a decision even in my mind.
Or he has been dropped twice by head kicks in his career. So that could be a path.
Throw some head kicks. I think that's more. I think that's better even than the light kicks, just because when I watch Gaethje, usually like sometimes fighters will put their hands down a little to throw that leg kick. I feel like the way Gaethje throws it, it is that case, and I could just see him throwing one of those, and Tapor is just like Superman right down the middle on him. Like, so I think some head kicks are to his advantage here.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a huge uphill battle for the highlight, Justin Gaethje, but
What do you think his best strat will be, Ed?
it's, I think the kicks will be the most important part for Gaethje, both leg and head kick and just body kicks. I don't know if this makes sense, but Gaethje got to use his size in here, man. That's like the one thing that these lightweights have over Topuria. I know Charles wasn't able to use it, but like Justin somehow got to use his size. He's the bigger guy, and he just got to survive. Like you said, we haven't seen Topuria face adversity. He's gone 5 rounds, but not in a back and forth fight. So
I
I think
mean,
a mix of both of your strategies will be great.
I mean,
Survival first, like survival first, like all the way holding him against the cage and not like on some clinch middle of the cage shit. I think dirty boxing, Taporia will fucking generate enough force to put him down.
It,
Like
it,
I think that you gotta really be like smothering him against the cage,
what's wrong?
or like all the way out kicking. Like no boxing range, like swinging back and forth shit. Like you will go down.
and another thing is just oh my god, Gaethje's last fight, like he was in a 25-minute stand up firefight with Paddy Pimblett. And like that's just not gonna work versus Topuria, any of that. But hopefully him and his team like they formed up a nice plan because it would be cool to see Topuria face some issues, especially on this crazy ass card.
Right? Like just make the main event like last more than fucking 2 minutes, please. Like
And Topuria, I know he's always been cocky, but he's getting real cocky on like
he's saying crazy shit.
like a poet. He's like he getting real full of himself. Deservedly so though. He's the fucking champ. So banger main event. Let's move on to the co-main, guys. In my opinion, this is the best fight on the entire card. Best fight for us to break down. This is super interesting. And they both damn near have identical records. Alex Pereira moving up to heavyweight to take on Cyril Gane for the interim heavyweight belt. Gane's last fight was a no contest. Pereira coming off that knockout against Ankalaev. What is the biggest question mark with Alex Pereira moving up to heavyweight here, guys? Because we know what we're going to get from Gane.
I think that the biggest question mark for me is the cardio. Um, the cardio and speed a little bit. How is he gonna carry the weight? Um, I know I'm not worried about how he's gonna carry it in terms of power or technique. It's just a matter of like I know that Gon is an elusive fucker, and I could see him being a little bit frustrating to track down in like round one a little bit, maybe round two, maybe even. I think around maybe midway through round three is like where I think that the fight will kind of turn around. I kind of anticipate Gunn having some early success flicking the jab out there and like Poatan to kind of be trying to march him down largely. But I think that like eventually Gunn's gonna start slowing down and that's when like he's gonna be more hittable, more leg kickable, and then like I think it's gonna be like a avalanche for Alex, but that only works if he like has cardio when Gon doesn't. If he's huffing and puffing, swinging wildly and like missing early and gassing himself out while getting touched up a little bit, like I could see a world where the size that he put on kind of works against him. I kind of would feel a little bit more comfortable had he not put on this much size and his chances. But kind of like the same thing like with John Jones. I just have to see it. I had the same questions with John Jones when he moved up to heavyweight. Just how is the weight gonna look? How is he gonna move with it? Um, And Pereira's never been the most defensively sound fighter. So if he's a little bit more slow and stiff against a fighter as fast as Gone, like he could be extra hittable. So that's I guess what my biggest concern is, I guess.
100%. That's what was gonna say. I think it's just straight up cardio. I think everything else he'll look the same about. Is just definitely how does the cardio look? I think the speed will be all right because I don't think he like got too big. I would say like he at least looks a little bit the same as I thought he did at 205. Just a little bigger, but not by a ton. So I think the speed will be somewhat okay, but I think that cardio could be a big issue, especially depending on what kind of strat we see Gon pull. I would not be shocked if Gon shoots like early, and I don't know how that cardio will even look. That could be even worse. But you can say the same about Gon. Usually he's a good starter who kind of gets more tired as the fight goes along. Not super. We've never seen him fully gas out, but just you could just tell there's like less bounce in his step. And that's where I think Pahea could have his most success, depending on, like you said, X, is this cardio good, putting on all this weight? We don't know. We're just going to have to see. But that's the only problems I could see. I think outside of that, I mean, we already know what the man's done. One of the best kickboxers ever, like top 10 MMA fighter of all time inside of 16 fights. So, I mean, that's crazy work to me.
Yeah, going for this third belt here. First one, he'd be the first one to do it in the company's history. Let's go to predictions here. I'll start here. I'm very ever so slightly leaning Pereira here. I'm gonna go with Poetan. I can't even really say if it's by knockout or decision. I don't even know. Maybe a decision, a really competitive decision. My breakdown's pretty similar of Xavier's. I think it'll be pretty back and forth. Gon will start the fight better, just kind of get the better of the exchanges, might get a takedown or two, but like I think Alex Pereira is the much heavy hitter, much heavy kicker, and maybe that power will be even crazier at heavyweight. And also just the last couple fights, their like resume. I like Pereira's consistency better and his like wins, his opponents that he's beating better. Even though Gon looked phenomenal against Aspinall, it was still a no contest. Like I can't gauge too much off that.
No, I agree. I'm also gonna slightly lean Pereira. I do recognize that there is a world where Gon could make him look kind of silly out there. But that is kind of more so predicated on him kind of slowing down and looking a little slow out there. I don't anticipate that because I think that it's not like Alex didn't have to track down like a prime Izzy in his prime. You know what I mean? Like multiple times, as well as probably other high level kickboxers who probably tried a more movement based style against him, especially. So I'm sure he's like used to fighting high level kickboxers who their main goal is to avoid his dangerous power. Like that, he's probably made his whole career, even pre UFC, off that. So the style of Gun, I don't think is going to be anything he hasn't seen before. It's like new. It's a new matchup for us, like in the octagon, because he's like such a big fuck. But like besides that, like the elusiveness of Gon, like it's not like most heavyweights have not fought someone as elusive as Gon. You know what I mean? Whereas like Alex has at multiple lighter weight classes where the people are much faster. So I don't think that the speed of Gon is gonna like throw him off that much. Um, I expect him to be the more forward moving fighter even if he's getting touched up a little bit, Gon does not have like the heaviest hands. I don't want to call him pillow hands because it's heavyweight and the right shot can put anyone down. But like he's not the kind of fighter that, especially if he's fighting off the back foot, I expect to just be slumpy dumping Pereira with one shot. So I just kind of see him fighting off the back foot and well initially, but like that does just get exhausting naturally. And over 5 rounds, if it was a 3 rounder, I might be a little bit more inclined to pick Gon here. Um, but rounds 4 and 5, I just don't see them going Gon's way if the fight's playing out how I imagine it to. And if I can see a late finish if he can, start landing clean. Because unlike most of these heavyweights, like he's not only powerful but accurate and crispy with it. So give me Alex by, I'm gonna say fourth round, late fourth round TKO.
Mm. Uh, man, Ghana's my boy, so it is kind of tough. I would, I would lean Pahea simply because the only thing I'm worried about, Ghana actually comes out with his wrestling game plan. Because I think if he does, I do not see a world Pahea gets up from a heavyweight holding him down. Honestly, I don't see it. And Ghana's he is a big fuck. Like he is a big boulder, so it might tire Ghana out more to be honest. But like I think that is a path to victory for him if he chooses to go that route. I do just kind of feel like he will strike with Pahea as long as he feels it's like comfortable. Like if it's like kind of like a spar kickboxing kind of fight, I can definitely see them trading off shots and whatnot. But I do think Pahea absolutely just has the X factor. I think he's the biggest puncher in the sport at any weight class, pound for pound. And I do see a world past the third round three and on. It gets more dangerous for Gon as he slows down more. And I don't know. I can see it going decision though. As long as, like we said, we don't know Pahea's cardio problems. And it could look worse for him after three and on, depending on depending on how the fight goes. I honestly think though, if they're just kickboxing at range the first 2 to 3, I feel like the cardio shouldn't be as big of a deal. I think it's only if the wrestling comes into play, I think that's where it'll get really interesting on both sides. And I think Gon's gonna be the only one shooting though. Obviously, Bay isn't taking a shot out there, but I'm curious to see this one. This is a good matchup. I think it's a great fight. I'm kind of pulling for my boy Gon, but like I think it's just history in the making here. It just feels like he's gonna do it, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's another reason. Like it's a shitty reason, but plot armor, just like the main event, it would be a lot better if Ilya and Pereira won. Like there's clearly a guy the UFC wants to win in both fights, and I think they'll get their wish fulfilled.
Inverse Hokit? Oh my God.
Also, it would just be weird if like Pereira lost. Like, would he go back down? Would he hang out? Would he retire? It's just kind of awkward. But Gon's, I'm pretty sure it's literally a pick 'em. But all right, let's move on, guys. To this featured fight of the night at bantamweight, number 3 Sean O'Malley versus number 6 Ayman Zahabi. O'Malley a huge favorite here. Another fight where most people are picking O'Malley. But the reality is Zahabi is on a 7-fight winning streak. How do you guys see this fight going? And are we giving Zahabi a chance here to beat Sugar?
No, I'm not. I think this is the easiest fight to predict for me on the card. Um, I think it's very likely that Sean O'Malley gets like some kind of highlight reel first or second round knockout and stakes his claim for a title shot against Piotr Yan, a fighter who in their previous matchup he won. Um, it seems like it might be a little rock, paper, scissors situation potentially with O'Malley beating Yan, but then not able to beat Marab kind of deal. Um, I think that like with as big of a star as O'Malley is, coming off an impressive win over Yadong, about to be coming off an impressive win over Zahabi more than likely. I just think that like the Sugar Show could be back and like the UFC would love to make that fight, you know? We can never forget UFC Dana's privilege, you know what I mean? Like with a win, especially the way I think he's gonna get it here, like I see a slim chance that the next fight's anything, especially with Marab breaking his fucking nose in RAF. The UFC loves that excuse. Oh, you have a broken nose, Marab. You can't fucking fight. We're gonna run this Sugar Show thing first. You know, like I can already see the writing on the wall for that. Ayman Zahabi, while he has been on a an impressive win streak, and he's like 38, he's hit like a late career prime. And in his last fight, he lost. I mean, he won a splitty against Cheeto. Winning splitties against Cheeto does not bode well for you against O'Malley, who's not gonna take rounds off and actually is gonna like throw punches at you with devastating intent from like the start of the fight to the end of the fight. So I think that Zahabi's gonna, get his old ass slept. Respect to him, because like the late career run that he's been on, like he deserves this spot, and you know, but I think that this is like very clearly a setup fight for Sean O'Malley, like tailor-made matchup, who just happens to be ranked number 6.
Uh, I'll say I think it's a weird matchup though. I mean, it's definitely they want Sean to win the fight because what we were asking for was Sean and Sanhagen, or I would even rather see the Sean versus Bautista because they just booked the Bautista Sanhagen shit.
Or Umar.
Or Umar, who's fighting David Martinez.
Right.
um, so they definitely want Sean to win. I think if Sean goes out there, looks like his old. I will say, like the last fight was not great. I thought the third round was nice, but it was a very slow start, and maybe he's used to the 5 rounders, so maybe he just needs to get back in the groove of like putting numbers together early. And I feel like against Zahabi, perfect opponent to do it. Zahabi just kind of like, at least from what I've seen, and I like Zahabi. I think he's been on a nice run, looking pretty impressive in some of them too, like some wars. But it's wars against like 41-year old Jose Aldo,
Yeah.
which was a controversial decision, by the way. Some people thought it could have gone Aldo. Close fight splitties with Cheeto Vera, who gives up 2 rounds every fight. It's just like it seems like this is a massive step for him. And I think as long as Sean comes out confident, like he's looked his whole career for the most part, he should beat Sahabi. He just has more weapons, more kicks in his game too. Zahabi mainly like boxes, I feel. And I think against the range of O'Malley and movement, I think it should be a clear cut. And I agree. I'm gonna go with like a second round TKO. I think he gets back a knockout here. But Zahavi's like, I wouldn't say though. I'm gonna say he's the second biggest dog. I think there's one a little more based on how that buddy fights. We'll get to him soon.
Yeah. I'm also going to go with Sugar here. I'm going to go with him by a unanimous decision with definitely some cuts. He's going to cut Zahabi up, maybe a knockdown or two. Yeah, I just think Sean is way too quick for Zahabi. That's the big thing. Zahabi's just kind of a plotty guy. And I think Zahabi has to wrestle if he wants to have success in this fight. But I think he's going to get tagged up, cut open. Sugar's going to make him bleed and get the decision here.
Yeah,
Uh,
I don't think that against Song Yadong, like Sean had so much more to lose. Because if you lose to Yadong and you get on like a skid, what was it, like a 3 fight skid? Like,
It would have been, yeah,
because he lost the two to Marab and shit, like, you know what I mean? It's like you don't want to be on a 3 fight skid, including a loss to Yadong, to be honest. Like, so I thought that he did, early on, play it a little safe, and then once he started to, find his timing and his range and shit, like he did pick it up in round three, like you said, Clark, and like really show the levels for sure. But like, I think that like Yadong is a lot more dangerous than Zahabi to
way
me.
scarier.
Way scarier, younger. Like, I think he's gonna like not show Zahabi respect in front of the White House crowd because I think that he's probably been promised like, hey man, if you fucking go out there and do something spectacular, like you got the next title shot. Like I'm pretty sure him and Dana have talked, and that is a pretty like at least clear to him understanding. You know what I mean? Like I like because I don't think with the decision win that like you can't leapfrog him for someone else, but like. I feel like with a devastating, finish of some sort, like it'll be, a highlight tape. Everyone's talking about it, talking about the fact that he beat the champ last time. Like it's an easy sell and like a moneymaker.
For sure. Let's move on, guys. Most recent addition to the UFC White House card, Josh Hokett at number 5 here, taking on number 9, Derek Lewis, Donald Trump's favorite fighter. Another huge favorite here, Josh Hokett, minus 425 on the UFC's website. I mean, this is a really simple breakdown. Either Josh Hokett just abuses and runs over Derek Lewis, or Lewis catches them with that Houston bomb. But, oh man, I just feel like Lewis is going to get bulldozed here. What do you guys think?
I love Dulu, one of my favorite heavyweights of all time. Like I've been betting on this man to upset the odds. I've made so much money on this man over the years. Like I love Dulu to death. But I just expect bad things for him here in this matchup. Um, he's very clearly out of his prime, and in his prime, I think he would have struggled with a Hockett, especially if Hockett like actually is smart about this and like doesn't just fight how he fought against Curtis Blaze. Like if he comes out how he came out against Curtis Blaze, just like throwing hands and like getting right in Lewis's face, swinging and banging. I think that that is giving Lewis his best and probably only chance to win this fight. Um, there was also moments where Hockey kind of punched himself out against Curtis Blades, and he was still there, and Curtis was able to land a couple counters. He better be careful, weary of that game here too, because Delu does love to like kind of play hurt sometimes, or like turtle up to get you inside and then swing some vicious overhand King Kong of a bomb. So. I think that like short of getting boomed on the randoms, like Josh Hawkins should run Delu over. I expect it to be over in round one. Delu also has not shown as much grit in recent years. Like
No.
he's here for these paydays, bro. He does not give that much of a fuck. And like if he does to eat 2 hard shots, he will just turtle up and go
Yeah,
down.
he'll just turn around and let you finish him.
Collect the fucking check, bro. He's here to fucking. He's here because Derek Lute. I mean, because Donald Trump loves his ass. So. I mean, I love this for him. I love to see him getting this paycheck, getting this big exposure on his way out. But like, it's Hawkett's time, and I don't see a world where he does not finish Lewis in the first round. If not, at the latest in the second round. He ain't no Jailton Almeida. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, book the under one and a half, currently at minus 210.
That's easy money.
Easy money.
Probably the easy pick. I might even be more bolder on the day and say under half a round. The way these two fight, and honestly, I love the answers I've been hearing from Hockett from Media Day that he has to treat Derek Lewis different. He's not Curtis Blades in terms of like power. So I'm already loving hearing that stuff. And it's kind of what I figured about him because in the first few fights, he was just punching into takedowns. Like, he wasn't really doing what he did in the Blades fight.
I mean, because Blaze can wrestle his ass off. That's why.
Yeah, yeah. I thought he chose. He said screw wasting my cardio on that. I'm just gonna bang with him. And Blades was even the one going for takedowns in the end, but didn't get them. And so I do just think Hockett, like, and we've seen it before versus D. Lou. He can be taken down. It's not like I think Hockett's a good. I mean, this man wrestled Bo Nickel in college, so I think he's at least a good enough wrestler to get D. Lou down.
He got his ass whooped in that match if you ever seen it. Like, got his ass whooped, but he was a lot smaller back then.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, definitely gained some good weight here. I don't know what he was weighing at that point. Probably a lot lighter. But I just think like Hogan's the answer to this division right now. I think we need him here. He's the only one giving juice to this division right now, honestly. Unless Bahia wins, but
Hey, man! Don't disrespect my boy Gable on the way. Help is on the way, bro. Help is on the way.
hey, fair enough. He is who's he fighting the verse? But
You got to get past what's his name, Ellis?
he'll beat
I'm just kidding,
the buddy they put him against is like 6 foot. Like they just gave this man a layup for the first fight.
bro.
No,
If
hey,
what,
Gable is on the way too. He is on the way. I think he'll be up there. I just don't know how quickly there.
bro, if Derek Lewis goes in here and fucking flatlines Josh Hogan, it would be one of the funniest things ever. Like it wouldn't be good for the UFC, but like it would be hilarious.
Be cool. I'm a big D. Lou guy, so I'd be all in for it. Like I think either way, I'm very happy with this outcome. It's gonna be like a short fight. There's no way this lasts like over two.
Also, I feel like a lot of these fighters are going to go a little extra try hard because they're on the Whitehouse card.
Oh, the bonuses gotta be they gotta be massive here. There's no playing
Trump
here.
gotta chip in for these bonuses, man. Chip in, Trump.
Fucking $5 million bonuses, man. Come on.
Give them our U.S. dollar taxes. No play.
All right, guys. Let's move on to this lightweight bout here. I know we all like know the outcome here. Rufy is the biggest favorite on the card at -750 here, but I'm just so intrigued and excited for how this fight is going to look. As crappy as Michael Chandler's resume has been in the UFC, this guy does put on a show, win or loss. And Rufy is on an absolute hot streak. I thought his physique performance was one of the most impressive of the year so far. He's talked about it. He's trying to get to this belt, and I think he's getting there. But what are we thoughts on Chandler getting probably slept on the Whitehouse lawn here?
I mean, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to enjoy it. Not no disrespect to Chandler, longtime fan. Fuck with him in his Bellator days, of course. For those who know, you know. But like, at the end of the day, man, this sport is a sport that chews you up and spits you out. And unfortunately for Chandler, much of his career in the UFC has been him getting spit out, albeit in entertaining ways. I think that he kind of understands that he is not a winning fighter. He's kind of a highlight man. I think he's kind of settled into that role. So I don't think he's going to go out there and all of a sudden make this boring. I don't think that even if he tried to wrestle the whole time, like he would have that much success. He's just gonna gas out, and get chinned a little bit. Like might save himself a little time, but like either way, I think that it's his best bet to go out. He's here for a good time, not a long time. Make it a scrap for as long as it lands before Rufy inevitably chins him and knocks him the fuck out for the people. He won at Conor McGregor, so they're giving him Diet McGregor. But
It's silly, man.
instead a more primed McGregor, you know what I mean? A more primed fighter, um, who has a very similar game. So I mean, it's not gonna go well for Chandler. I thought that Conor would beat him. I think that Rufy's gonna beat him even more. And Rufy's streaking right now. He's not gonna let Chandler like be a bump in the road here.
Uh, I was saying earlier, I think Michael Chandler probably the biggest dog on this card for a reason. I have yet to see this man fight with a smart IQ inside the UFC. which at this point is fine because he does put on some good fights. But I wish he did fight a little like if he went out there and actually has a good game plan here, which is to wrestle. I think it's his only path to victory, to be honest.
Yeah.
And but man, I mean the last few, like I said with Gaethje, I think it's even worse for Chandler. He looks like he's gassing out midway through the first these days. And it's like against a guy like Rufy, who is going to try to get a finish in there. It's just bad looks all day, and then you also had like Patty Pimblett knocking you down and knocking you out the way he did. I just think Rufy's like a higher level kickboxer who will just find something on him. I think every way. This is like an automatic, like spinning heel kick or something to the face. Like, I don't see how he doesn't whoop Chandler at this point. Chandler 40, right? At this rate,
Something like that.
I just don't see how it goes his way. Outside, if he wrestles, he might have a slight chance to claim a decision victory, like a little splitty somehow. But that's it. There's no other way he escapes the man Rufy. I just don't see it. And Rufy just coming off knocking out Viziev, which no one like really does.
And he beat the shit out of him.
Yeah, I mean, I will say Rufy's also someone like Sean O'Malley. I just need to see the confidence a little. I thought he looked better last fight, but he was letting Viziev kind of walk him down a little bit, and like I just need to see the confidence back a little. But I think against a guy like Chandler and the way he's been fighting, and we've been saying he needs to pack up and get out of the rankings at this point. Just give him exciting fights. Give him Bobby Green. I would love that fight, honestly.
Pretty fun.
So, this is just a bad matchup. I think Ruby just beats the shit out of him on the feet. Finish,
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, finish under 4.5 minutes, somewhere in there. I don't know.
I also think Rufy is one of those guys who's evolving very quickly. He's just going to get better and better, and I think he learned a lot from that BSDL. I think this fight is going to look like I think Chandler will have some success like very early. Like in a lot of his fights, he does have success early. He's very powerful and explosive and like strong. I think he could just get like a man strength takedown on Rufy. But once the fight settles down and both guys like the hype kind of settles down a little, I think Rufy's going to absolutely pick him apart on the feet with kicks, leg kicks, body kicks. He'll piece him up in the face. And either Rufy wins an absolutely brutal decision or he gets a finish here. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Rufy. I'll go with second round KO. TKO. But it's like a fun fight, but Chandler for the most part gets dominated.
I agree.
All right, guys, let's move on here to middleweight. Bo Nickel versus Kyle Dawkins. Bo Nickel a minus 350 favorite here. When this fight first got announced, I was a little worried for Bo. Dawkins is pretty game, but as the fight gets closer, the more I'm leaning Bo Nickel pretty comfortably. Do you guys agree with that, or am I underestimating Dawkins here?
I think that like Dawkins is. I mean, I don't think that like. I think Bo Nickal should win. Like if he, has made the improvements that he ought to be making. If he's like staying dedicated to the game how he was before he took a loss, and if he actually believes in himself and shit. But like, I don't think that Dawkins is like some run over. You know what I mean? But Dawkins is gonna keep fighting in there, and like. I have seen Bo Nickal not respond well to adversity before. So if he's not, dominating the fight, I could see a world where he lets it slip away from him. But I expect Bo Nickal to go out here, use his wrestling. I don't think he wants to lose, especially on the Whitehouse lawn. And Kyle Dawkins is not a RDR. I will say that. Like he's not RDR. So like there's even less of an excuse to like lose to him. So I expect Bo Nickel to win. I'm gonna predict that Bo Nickel can get like some type of you know, maybe a 29-28 decision or a 30-27 ideally decision, but like I can't see a world where like if he drops round one, I could see a world where he loses at least another round.
Well, this fight should not be on this card at all. Let me just, out of all the fights on this card, this one is just so out of place. No hype about it whatsoever. What I want to see Bo Nickel fight, man, versus Kyle Dawkins, who just got back in the UFC like 8 months ago. He had one fight with Michelle Paya, and now all of a sudden he's on the Whitehouse card. Like, it's a confusing matchup. I don't know what to expect from Dawkins. From what I've seen from him, though, I would I'm leaning Bo Nickel just because I think he can take him down and kind of do his thing. But I do think if this is on the feet for a good portion, Kyle Dawkins is definitely a live dog in there. I don't think Bo is like made the. He looked better in the last fight, but I don't think he's made like the biggest jumps in that area yet. So I can see Dawkins, having a little more elbows, some knees. Uses a few weapons, but I haven't seen enough of them back in the UFC to know. And a win over like a gas out man like Michel Pereira. I mean, I know he knocked him out instantly, but Michel has not looked good in his last few. So I don't know what to expect. I don't think it's a run over whatsoever, but I'm gonna comfortably say Bo Nickel probably can take him down and like I think this is the boring fight of the night, in my opinion. I think this is like,
It's the worst fight tonight
Worst fight of the night for sure.
by
yeah.
far.
So I got no hype. I think Ed's lucky they gave him this matchup because if he was on the White House, it's free points for you, Ed. Or if it's not free points, he might not be getting you any points this year. So he better win. I think he should win.
Oh, he better win. I think there's a crazy amount of pressure on Bo Nickel here also.
He's also like 30. Like, we gotta remember, he came in a little older. So I feel like he needs to make like bigger jumps a little quicker than most. I mean, he's got time, I guess, but it's like in terms of what he like promised, like champion, like I was gonna be Hamza, like get out of here, bro, with
We're
that.
nowhere near.
Yeah.
So I need to see it. And I think he could, but Kyle, it gives a lot of RDR vibes. But I do agree with you, Eggs. This is no RDR standing in front of you, Bo. You can win this, but I don't know. It's a tough one, honestly.
No, for sure. Let's move on to the final slash first fight of the night here, guys. We got Diego Lopez versus Steve Garcia. Lopez looking at a minus 160 favorite here, number two versus number nine. What are you guys leaning with here? Lopez, kind of like much better resume, a little more established in that top five ish. Steve Garcia has some really good momentum right now. Maybe you like him stylistically against Lopez. Which way are you guys leaning here?
Um, Before I give my pick, I'm gonna say I just recently was doing my a couple little tape study on Steve Garcia just because like his fights weren't as memorable to me. But I went back, watched the Onama fight, watched the Cater fight, and then watched him against Kyle Nelson, I believe. Yeah, Kyle Nelson.
Yeah.
Um, so I watched his last three, and like I do think that like he is like because I can't see the odds right now. I'm assuming he's an underdog, right?
Yeah, Lopez minus 160.
Okay, I mean I think that that's kind of like pretty accurate. Like I think that like he is live in this fight, very much so. I just think that he is not quite as elusive as like a Volk, and there's something to be said for like if you spent like multiple training camps and multiple fights, damn near like what 50 minutes trying to track down Vulcan there. I don't think that Steve Garcia and the way he fights like is that elusive. He's way more likely to like exchange with Lopez, which gives like Lopez like obviously his best chance to like land something big. Um, but I mean, I can see a world where Garcia wins. I'm gonna pick Lopez just because like I think that he's fought the higher level of competition, especially in Gene Silva and Volk. So I think that like Garcia is not better than Gene Silva to me. And so like if you can beat him and survive like him in his onslaught, I think you can survive Steve Garcia and like land something to kind of get him off you. But I think that Garcia is live and like this is kind of a sleeper for like fight of the night, honestly. I can see this being like a sleeper for like in terms of like all action kind of fights. This might be the biggest one here where it's like back and forth. They're most evenly matched and like stylistically almost guaranteed to produce a fun fight. So sleeper for fight of the night for sure.
Yeah, this is a banger. I was very high on Steve Garcia coming into this year. He's on Team Clark. I did not want him to face Lopez this early though, because what I will say, I mean, looking at the resume, 6 TKO out of his last 7 fights, win wise, and he's been on a good streak for sure. But I will say, like, it's a big step up in comp to go from David Onama and Old Man Cater to like Diego Lopez, who, even though I believe in a rematch, Lord Silva would destroy him as he was doing, he did TKO that man and basically has looked good against everybody except Volk, really. And so I'm leaning Lopez because I also heard he's training at Oklahoma State, and you know they're a big wrestling program. And that is what I would like to see out of Lopez. I think he has like very good grappling, but he never uses it. Like he kind of just like uses it more defensively more than anything. And it's like, bro, you could get so many more decision wins out there or like submissions, just wrestling them. I do think he just likes to put on exciting fights. So I think at first it's going to be wild. But I will say I have seen Steve Garcia get KO'd before. So I don't think the chin is like impossible to clip. And from what we've seen in the Lopez fight, I don't know if this man can get finished in there. I think Gene could if, we
You know
give
what
him.
next time. Trust. But it's not gonna be Steve Garcia probably.
Yeah, and I just think Steve Garcia is going to be in his face. He is long and they're both very tall for the weight class and very long strikers. I almost would give the slight edge to Garcia in like technique.
Oh, of course,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I think power probably would be on Lopez's side and the chin and the wrestling and grappling. I think I'm leaning Lopez, and Lopez has just also fought much better comp for longer. So it just feels like one of those fights, like too big of a step up. As long as Lopez is in a good mindset, like he better not be coming out there and doing that Volk bullshit that he was doing last fight. That's all I'm gonna say. But I think in a 3 round fight, he tends to bring it more just because it's less rounds and he can go crazy in them. And so I think this is gonna be a crazy fight in the first at least. But I'm gonna lean Lopez. I don't know, maybe by decision. I'm not sure how he beats him really, but probably decision. We also a lot of Steve Garcia fights end in the first. I don't know. I mean, the Cater fight was decision. I don't recall. Was the gas tank looking all right, X?
Yeah, but he was kind of whooping Cater's ass more than he wasn't having that much like resistance.
Or resistance? Yeah, that's
Or
the only thing I'd be concerned about. I guess if it goes past like two into the third, I think Lopez probably just has a little, just much more ways to win than I think Garcia does. So I'd lean Lopez, honestly.
Oh man, this is tough. Lopez is on my team, and I really like him, but I'm like, for some reason, I'm leaning Garcia here, just out of activity.
Hey, Ed, pick Garcia. We both have each other's guys, so we can root for the other one.
Okay, I'll go with Garcia by a decision, and I'm like frustrated watching Lopez not throw enough while rooting for him. That's my prediction. But I get your guys' argument. The biggest argument for Lopez is the level of comp.
right, right, right. Other than that, like there's a lot of reasons why I think that Garcia is gonna give him problems. Like Garcia throws a lot more straight, which like straight punches tend to land faster than hooks if like in exchanges. I think Garcia is like much more technical too, but like again, I have to imagine that Lopez like trying to track Volk down, and it's not like he never hit Volk either. Like, granted, he had 5 rounds to track him down, but I think Volk is way more. He has much better footwork than Garcia. So, I mean, I think that like just comparatively speaking, Garcia is gonna be a lot easier to find, and like that would just give him enough of an edge to land something decent at least.
Yeah, it's a badass fight. But before we wrap things up, guys, give me your fight of the night, performance of the night, and most likely underdog to prevail and beat the odds. Because this card is completely filled with big favorites. So let me hear it, guys.
All right, I'm gonna go fight of the night. Pereira. Uh, Performance of the night. Man, you can fucking throw a dart and hit a performance of the night in this fucking card. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna go. Fuck. I'm gonna go Josh Hockett over Derek Lewis. I think like I don't see that fight being very competitive. I could see like yeah, I just think that like that fight's not very competitive at all. So performance bonus Hockett, and then what's the last one?
Which underdog do you think has the best chance to win?
Most likely underdog to win. Um, Kyle Dawkins, bro. Kyle Dawkins, I think. I mean, unless you consider Steve Garcia underdog, but I think that like that's more of a pick 'em to me anyway, mentally.
Okay,
But in terms of like big underdog, where they like it's like a very clear and defined underdog, I think Dawkins, just because like I don't know how good Bo Nickel is honestly after all this time. Still,
what about you, Nick?
Fight of the night. I'm going Garcia, Lopez. I think they'll just swing. I think it'll be crazy pace early. Might slow down later, but I think they're just gonna land hands on each other. I think performance of the night, Taporia to absolutely destroy Gaethje. Probably inside a minute. Who knows? Uh, biggest dog or best dog? Hmm. I I like the Kyle dog his hands. Weirdly, in my mind, almost want to say Derek Lewis, D. Lou Loki, Loki. I could just see it like for some reason he just has this like random win out of left field at 42. Hawkett's like coming in. He's like, not today.
there's a part of me that would be fucking happy as fuck for that. You know, in front of the White House lawn, he takes his fucking pants off. Like,
I think it's more likely than Chandler and Zahavi though. Yeah, I'll go with Delu. It's probably Kyle Dawkins though, for being real.
Yeah, I have the same answers as you, Nick, but just to be different, maybe underdog. I just can't say Zahabi. Like that's the only other kind of like hipster answer, but I just don't even know. Maybe Zahabi, and also sleeper fight of the night, Rufy and Chandler. But it's a fight where it's like super fun, but Rufy's just like beating his ass for the majority of it. But it's like a sick fight.
No, I agree with that. I think Chandler will land a punch or two. Like he's not bankrupt in there, but I just think that he will go to sleep also.
Yeah, he'll land two punches and then he'll go to sleep.
Hopefully, guys, this card delivers. I feel like the big cards usually deliver. Like 300 was pretty sick. This is one of definitely a top five biggest event in history. And yeah, hopefully you guys are watching and enjoying it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please go check out the TikTok and our most recent videos. Please leave a comment and like, and see you guys in the next one.
Peace.